Hello, people. It's time for a very important topic to be addressed. We're going to be talking about races in Dungeons and Dragons.
I know more than you.
Okay, so there are a lot of races to choose from in D&D, Reagan.
There are.
This is the Player's Handbook of 5th edition. Reagan, I would like you to read that first paragraph or two called Choosing a Race. Go ahead.
Humans are the most common people in the worlds of D&D.
Pause. Read that sentence one more time.
Humans are the most common people in the worlds of D&D.
Now continue.
But they live and work alongside dwarves, elves, halflings, and countless other fantastic species. Your character belongs to one of these peoples.
Now, just from that paragraph alone, Reagan, what race do you want to play?
A halfling.
A halfling. Okay, great. Good example. Why would you want to play another race? Why wouldn't you just play a human? If the book says that humans are the most common people in the worlds of D&D, why would you want to play another race?
Well, because they have powers.
They have powers. And do you have powers in real life?
No.
Do you have dark vision?
Unfortunately not.
Do you have savage attacks?
Sometimes.
Do you have halfling luck?
No.
Do you have the wood elves' ability to just like go into fog and be invisible, basically? No.
No.
So, what do you think is the reason why D&D players, especially newer players, why they want to play races that aren't human?
Because the powers are easy to whip out.
The powers. So, here's a funny thing. There's a whole swath of people that think that humans are boring, who like they start playing D&D and they're like, I never want to play a human. They're boring. Humans are boring. And I wonder, why does everybody say that? That's why I'm asking you these questions as a new person.
Mm-hmm.
So a lot of people would say, well, Bill, we're humans in real life. I want to play something that isn't me, which kind of makes sense, right?
Yeah.
Or I want to play something with powers, or I want to try playing all these cool different races. Now, I don't have inherently a problem with that, but I do have a problem when people get into that mindset and then they think that humans are not exciting. And here's why.
Okay, I'm listening.
D&D is a tabletop role-playing game. It means that you are playing a role. You with me so far on this logic?
Yeah, I got that.
So if you decide, I want to play a halfling, and someone else is like, I want to play a dragonborn, and someone else is like, I want to play a half-orc. But then you sit at the table, and you just basically play as you, and you roll dice. Are you really role-playing?
No.
Probably not. So most people don't actually role-play. That's the first statement I'll make. I know it's bold. Some people do. Some people will role-play, and they'll be like, oh, my guy has an accent, and they'll talk with an accent. Okay, good try. Some people will get into the character that they're playing, and they'll think about their race, and if they're playing a dwarf, they'll just be grumpy all the time because they're like they pick up on the stereotype that all dwarves are just grumpy. Okay, not a bad attempt. But is it really deep role-playing?
No.
Not really. So here's my analogy, Reagan.
Mm-hmm.
I think that when it comes to selecting a race in this game, that people who start playing the game are kind of like children with Crayola crayons. Now, I want you to imagine, audience and Reagan, imagine that you're a little kid, you're in a restaurant, and you get the kids menu, and what else do you get with the kids menu, Reagan?
Crayons. 4.
4. A 4-pack of crayons, right? Your basic colors. Now, when you're a little kid, what could you do with that 4-pack?
Color in the piece of pizza that they drew on the menu.
Sure. Let's say you were a creative kid. What could you do with that 4-pack?
Draw anything.
Draw anything. Could you draw a lot of pictures?
Mm-hmm.
Did it matter when you were a little kid that you only had a 4-pack?
Nah.
Now, what if I told you that at that same restaurant, there was a table next to you, and that kid had the big box of 64 crayons?
I'd be jealous.
You'd be jealous, as would everyone, right, in that scenario. The way I look at racial selection in D&D is kind of like the Crayola analogy. Now, everybody coming into D&D and discovering all these cool different races that you could be. You flip through these books, you flip through the other expansions, and you see all these different races that you could be. And you're like the kid who just got the big box of Crayolas. You're like, I want to use all these crayons, right?
That was me when I was picking my character.
Yes. You want to pick out all of the different crayons. Because just having the 4-pack is humans. Right?
But you can still do a lot with humans, is what you're saying.
That's what I'm getting to, Reagan. You could still do a lot with the 4-pack. So here's where I'm at, people. In fact, my statement to counter the statement that humans are boring is that humans are not boring. Humans are the 4-pack of Crayolas. For them to be more interesting, you have to draw the picture. You have to get creative with the 4-pack. So,
People are lazy, Bill.
that's right. Reagan, I'm making a call to action. Humans. So some people who watched D&D with high school students season 1 felt like I was being mean because I let the players only make humans. And after I posted like a pinned comment that explained why, which is that in season 1, the setting was a continent in which only humans were playable race options. Then some people were like, oh, okay, that makes sense then, if it's like part of the story and me not just being like a prison warden.
Right.
But one of the reasons why I made that continent only human was to challenge players. Because if you and everybody else in your party are human, what makes you different?
Do you have to decide?
You have to decide. We are all different people in real life.
Yes.
We have a lot of similarities. We all have these fingers. I mean, most of us, unless you suffered an injury or birth defect. But, we all have similar features. But what makes each one of us different is who we are, not what we are. And that's the important distinction. Because humans are not boring. If I told you that you can only play in a game where everybody was a halfling, you picked that at the beginning of this video. I didn't force you to. You picked halfling. What if I said we're going to play a campaign where everybody's a halfling? Now, if everybody at the table is a halfling, what makes you special?
The type of halfling I am?
No, let's say you're all the same halfling. Now what?
Then the powers that I choose.
Sure. The class you choose, the background that you choose, and most importantly, how you play your character.
Which you can all do with humans.
Yes. That's the point I'm making. So when why I get frustrated is people will say like, humans are boring. Or like, I don't like playing the boring races. You know what that means? That means those people are boring. That means you're lazy and boring. Sorry, not sorry. That's what that means. Because any race and any class in this game can be amazing if you put the work into it. If you make that character really come to life. If you give that character flaws. Not every person is perfect. Even our greatest heroes had flaws.
That's what makes them relatable.
Right. So the more immersive you make your character, the more into a fully fleshed out person that character is, the more rich that character will be. Which is why I'm confident that I could play a human of any class and make that a more immersive character than I think the majority of people getting into D&D who think that what makes their character special is their race or their class. So bottom line, people, the most basic race and class, like a human fighter, doesn't have to be boring. It doesn't have to be the vanilla ice cream. You put your own flavor into it, and then you make it into a sundae. And I think I've made my point. So
Nicely put.
thanks for watching. If you agree with me, comment below. And then subscribe and like the video and spread the word.
But
If you don't agree with me, comment below and tell me where you think I'm incorrect on this statement or how you feel about it. And either way, I welcome your comments. So thanks for watching. We'll see you next time. Peace out. Bye. Let's go.
We're not recording anything?
Krafa? You know what? If I have to get up from here, I'm going to stab you with 2 different keys in the kneecap. I will put a key between your kneecap and the cartilage that exists to pad it, and then I will tear it off.
Okay, are you ready to go?
Yes.
Close the door.
Close the door.
We should fire him and hire another.
You're
thing.
fired, Bravo.
Let's get.
Come on! Okay, let's do a mission.
Bitch, what?